Hello, everyone. Welcome to We Talk About It, a podcast born from the depths of pain, hardship, grief, and loss, which led to purpose. I'm your host, Shanette Williams, and I'm here to share this journey with my incredible co-host, Taraya Tomlin Randall. We're so glad you are joining us as we dive deep into the conversations that connects us all. Each episode, we explore a wide range of topics. Absolutely nothing is off limits. We talk about healthy families, broken families, marriage, divorce, politics, racism, to health, wealth, education, and of course, spirituality. We believe that every story matters and your voice deserves to be heard. We're excited to bring special guests along the way who will share their unique insights and experiences. Joining us is the wonderful Miss Charlene Davenport, whose perspectives add even more richness to our discussions. We're excited and can't wait to engage with you all and share the stories that can help us heal and grow. Whether you're facing tough times or just curious about the world, tune into We Talk About It, where every conversation is a step towards understanding and connection. So, let's talk about it together. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of We Talk About It. I'm your host, Shanette Williams. If you don't know that by now, you know. And I'm thrilled to be here tonight, joined by my beautiful co-host, Taraya Tomlin Randall.
Yes. And thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We hope that you all have enjoyed our multi-series episode on grief. We have a few more talking points, and tonight we just want to continue on that journey and hope that this podcast will be able to reach someone so that you are fulfilled and
Absolutely.
edified from this.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we want to just give a big thank you to our audience for your continued support. And we're going to ask you tonight that if you're listening and it's being a blessing to you, subscribe to our podcast and then share it with others so that we can grow it and we can continue to provide great content, and let's just further it. If it's blessing you, then it can be a blessing to many others. And also remember, you can find us streaming on all platforms. I did say all platforms. And for more information about the show, be sure to check out our website on www.podpage.wetalkaboutit.com. It's the hub for everything you need to know about our episodes and special guests. And as we continue to grow and go and further our episodes, we will be continuously bringing special guests. You have to stay tuned for that because you never know who's going to drop in to talk about whatever we talk about.
Yes, absolutely.
And as Taria said, on tonight, we're going to continue those talking points about grief. I did let you know in the beginning, it's so many stages of grief. It's so much to break down with grief. And previously, we learned about grief not just being the death of loved ones, but it could be the loss of jobs, relationships, hardship. And I wonder, because of the state that we're in, how many people are experiencing grief. We have the government shutdown. We have so much going on. And I can only imagine the households that are being affected by the shutdown, losing jobs. Even before the shutdown, the sudden abrupt loss of jobs or the push out. Just so much is going on. The world that we used to know is no more. It's a whole new world. If you remember that different world, of course, that's not my saying, so I can't take the credit for that, but it is a whole new world. And those of us that are in Christ, we just know that we're protected because the government is on God's shoulder, and that's who we trust. But if in the event you don't, then I would admonish you to get to know the God that we serve, because you're going to need him in these times.
Yes.
And so I can imagine, as I stated, that grief is a big thing right now. because there's so many losses of people, losses of jobs, losses of family members. It's so much going on. It's so much going on. Every time you turn around, there's a murder, there's kidnapping, there's so much going on. There's wars, rumors of wars. There is, I mean, ooh, it's so much going on. Taria, I just want you to just recap as you can remember just the things that are going on, and that grief, grief is people are really being impacted, and grief is big right now.
It really is. And, as we talk about the world that we used to live in, and how the government shutdown has impacted people, I am, just speaking from loved ones and people that I know who are grieving the loss of jobs and grieving the loss of income. So when we talk about grief, it doesn't just come in this, as Shanette mentioned before, in the form of loss of loved ones, but the loss of a job. And I think that is one of the things that many of us can relate to, because if you aren't impacted, God bless you, and you should be grateful. But the ones around you, and even if it's people in your family, that has an impact on you, because you may have to step in and fill in the gaps for those who are lacking. And it's just, this is a time where we really have to come together and figure out how we can just be strong and get through this time that we're going through, the crisis that we're going through as a country, as a people. And it doesn't matter if you're black or white. This is not a black or white thing. This is a human thing, depending on what side of, politics you stand on. And we don't really get into politics on this platform, but, it definitely has an impact on us, and, how we're going to maneuver and get through it. So,
Yes.
Just hang in there. And
But that song say, I pray for you, you pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. We're going to need to be unified to survive what's going on in these times.
absolutely.
Yes. So on tonight, we're not going to prolong the time. We're going to get into part 4 of our series on grief, and that is talking about the practical paths to healing and coping. And that is huge, the practical path to healing and coping. And in that segment, or in this portion, we have to build a supportive environment, listening ear, help with chores, even be there to be a good company keeper.
Yes, yes.
We have to be unified. Division in this state will not work. It makes matters worse. And it's funny that we are here, because my pastor, and I have to give a shout out to my pastor, because God spoke to him and told him to bring prayer back to the homes, to come in and bless the homes. And on Friday, I had the honor of having my pastor and another member to come in, an intercessor, to come in and bless the home. And some of these key points that we're talking about unification, about not being divided, about just praying together, staying together, working as one, just coming together in the home, because we can tell we've gotten out of order as when it comes to the home. And what we see as a result of what's going on now is the lack of unification, kicking prayer out of the home, letting technology raise our children, just everything that is unfamiliar to what the home and what family is supposed to be. And that's what's going on now. So just bringing order back into the home is what we need to get rid of chaos, to be able to handle these things right now. And so, and I was looking at this, and it was saying we got to name it. Can't isolate. Tell trusted people you are grieving and what you need. And you know what? We have a funny way of grieving. We think grieving in silence, other
Yes.
than if you have a connection, or you're grieving in silence, but you're not. If I can say, If you have the God of your understanding, if you have that support, if you're getting closer to the God of your understanding, if you're not doing that, and if you're just isolating and not wanting to be with anybody or talking to anybody or thinking that, it's better for me to be by myself. I was there at one point and it wasn't a good thing. That was a dark place for me. That was a dark time. And when I finally, even I never even wanted to talk to the therapist at one time. It was like, you're not doing me any good. I went through these channels where grief had pretty much almost dominated my life. And it's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling at all. And
Right.
you have that part of you that says, shut down. Don't talk to anybody. They don't understand you. It's everything, guilt, shame, grief, emotions. All of this is coming on you and you feel that it's better for you to be alone. That's a dangerous place to be in.
Yes. I mean, it is. And just a prolonged grief in general is a dangerous place to be in. And I mean, you're going to go through periods of your life where you go in and out of, you're going to have your ups and downs. And I always find that the season that we're heading in, the holiday season, seems to be like the more difficult times, especially considering, it brings up memories of family. And when you have loved ones that are no longer part of the family, not in the flesh. I mean, the spirit is always there, but not in the flesh. It makes it a little bit more difficult to just be upbeat and happy. And then add the chaos of the world into this mix. It just becomes overwhelming. And so, this is where you come in and you create routines and rituals, just to kind of get your daily affirmations, whether that's something that you're getting up every morning, saying a
Right.
morning prayer, get up before everyone, have your morning coffee or tea, and just do things that kind of ground you to bring you back to center, if you would.
Right.
These are things that are very important. And just self-care, that self-care part is very important, especially as women, as mothers, as wives, as sisters, as the pillars of families. When people are constantly leaning on you and you're giving, 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 how do we fill our cups back up when we are running on low or when you're empty?
You said something that's key. How do you feel yourself back up when you're running on empty?
Yeah, that's where those small rituals come in. For me, I'm still trying to figure out how to fill myself up because when you do try to fill yourself up, you feel guilty because you're stepping away. I think, last weekend I wasn't able to be here for it because I went to Alabama to visit some friends and hang out because I needed to. And that helped fill me up. I needed to be able to just reconnect and have some me time. And, I got a chance to see Genesis while I was in Alabama. So that was.
Speaking of great, last week, well, this week actually, we had fall break, fall or winter, one or the other. It was break, and I was able to get my grandson for the entire week, and it was absolutely amazing. He helped me with the china. We did a lot. It was refreshing, and it was like just to hear him laugh, just that laughter, like a
Yeah,
deep laughter. He just never stopped laughing.
that's a
And
blessing.
it was absolutely amazing. And it was therapy for him and it was
And for you.
therapy for me.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful, beautiful time. Just the entire week. I just took him home maybe 2 hours ago, or maybe
Look,
3 hours ago. Yeah.
I know that your cup runneth over with joy with that. I know.
Yes, it does. And, I'm appreciative to his father for giving us that time. It's just, I'm grateful because when you're going through grieving, all sides of grieving, somebody has to come to that median and say, okay, you know, um, it's going to be okay. and let's just work together and show love and continue to show love. And
And you know
let's
what?
get
I
through
think
this.
that as you mentioned, being grateful for your grandson's father, I think this is also something that we need to do in our, in a future episode is talk about healing after you've gone through grief and
Absolutely.
what that healing process looks like because, I'm still on my healing journey and I lean on you because you tell me to be optimistic and don't think bad thoughts. But when something doesn't necessarily go my way, my mind automatically goes to the bad thoughts. And I'm working on because what we put out there, whether we say it or words are powerful,
That's right.
and that this manifestation word of manifestation has come to be a popular word, but it's really just having faith and trusting the
Yep.
process
Trust
and trusting
the
God.
process. Grief
Yes.
will have you thinking that everybody is
Everybody's
against
against you.
grief will have you thinking that, oh, it's nothing good in it. It's another
No.
emotion that we it's nothing good in it. It's
Yeah.
absolutely nothing good in grief. And I'm grateful. I am grateful because, like I said, his father didn't make it hard, and it was just a beautiful time. And I think that was another huge milestone in that area where we talk about the grief. And then this brings us to this point. You got to choose who can hold that space in your life when you're grieving.
Yeah.
You got to choose that, and you got to choose it wisely. You have to have somebody to listen to you well, not giving opinions, not telling you where you should be, but we got to have somebody to listen well. But anyway, to just keep going, like I said, you have to have that right person, not anybody negative, not anybody telling you where you should be or if I were you. Just listen well.
Right.
Be able to listen, not giving opinions. Be an encourager during times where you find somebody that's grieving. If you notice me, I'm always encouraging because I won't lie, we're both there.
Yeah.
And there are good days and there are bad days. But when it's bad days, what do you do?
And I think that, I mean, even with us and having similar circumstances that led us to this kind of grief that we're in, it's good to have somebody that relates to your loss or your grief. And everybody grieves differently, right? And so I know you went through a period of immense grief. I mean, it was your daughter, which is a different kind of grief than my sister, but nonetheless, it's grief. And because the losses were so similar in circumstances, your daughter died in the hospital, my sister died at home under similar circumstances. Not that you're happy, but it makes you feel comforting to know that it's someone who understands instead of just talking to someone who's just like, well, I don't, if this hadn't happened to my sister, I wouldn't be able to understand
Absolutely.
who's on a similar journey. You went into a shell. I did too, but I still kept going where you just shut down. But your process on the end of this, on the other side, I would say is you're more ahead than I am because I haven't sought that professional help.
But even, Taria, I know you say professional help. Even with the professional help, guess who has to do the work?
We do. Yeah, yourself. You have to do the work.
You have to do the work. So, and it's not always easy because when my therapist or the psychiatrist started talking about certain things, even being in church, hearing encouraging messages, all of that, a lot of times people say all of that is not necessary. It is. All of it is necessary. It's all necessary. It works hand in hand. The spiritual help, the professional help,
Yeah.
you doing the work, it all activities that keep you going. It works hand in hand.
Yeah.
And it brings me to the question that I wanted to ask. What do you need in order to get through this grieving process?
That's a good question. Time. And, time is relative because it could, for one person, it could be 6 months. For another person, it could be 6 years.
Right.
So we don't know what that time looks like, but um, it differs. You need compassion. And most of all, I think you need grace from the people around you so
Hmm.
that they'll understand that you are, I mean, there's no one thing that you need.
Do you think you're getting that grace from the people around you?
Yeah, I would say for the most part.
Do you think you're giving yourself grace?
Question. That's a profound question. Probably not enough because you always think that you could do more because you go through those different stages of grief. And you mentioned before, or we talked about it earlier in a previous episode, where you go through your stages, and I go through my stages of regret of things that I did not do when my loved one was here that I should have done or could have done. And so you start beating yourself up over things that could have been or would have been.
You know what? I think for me, it would have been worse if I never said I was sorry. Long before this tragedy came about, as a mother, I acknowledged I didn't do everything right. There was a time in my life that I was selfish and I didn't do everything right. But when I came to my senses,
Yeah,
I apologized to my girls
yeah,
because at some point they did get the worst of me and it was selfish, but I apologized, sincerely apologized, and they saw the change.
yeah. But you know what? You have to also give yourself grace in the
No, no, no,
sense.
no, no, no. I'm saying, no, I'm not saying that because believe me, it would have been worse had I not. That's what I was leading up to. But I apologized because had I not, and that happened to my baby, and I never apologized, it would have been worse for me.
Yeah,
But because I did, I acknowledged that, and remember, past tense, I acknowledged that I didn't do everything I should have done. And there was a time in my life where I was a selfish parent. And but when I came to my senses, I apologized. They accepted my apology. And that within itself, and again, they saw the process of growth. Now my other girls are getting more so because Amber is no longer here.
right, right.
But even with Amber, I apologize. So grief, yes, the grief, because for me as a mother, you never think you bury your child. You would think your child would bury you.
You exactly.
And then when it came back and we really found out what happened
Mhm.
and it could have been prevented, now that it's still grief. Grief is going to always be there, but you put it in perspective.
Mhm.
And you're not grieving as if there is no hope or you have no sorrow or, the woe is me. No, where I am now is I turn that grief and what has happened into work and advocacy. And let me tell you, we're not going to stop
Right.
until we get change.
Yes.
People can say what they want to say. I look at none of that. I carry that grief but I put it in perspective and I
Mhm.
work with it.
Yes.
So what I was meaning, it would have been totally worse for me had I not apologized. And then you would have that, "Oh, I could have done, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But I had the opportunity to make it right with her
Right. Right.
long before this transpired."
It's a blessing.
So I think for you, the most of it is I didn't do everything right. So now, if I can be honest, now, I have her children here. And then you get to beat yourself up because they're spread out and you think they should all be with me.
Be with me.
But this is the thing. Let time, prayer,
Yes.
but while you're waiting,
Mm.
you need to be working it out.
Yeah. And you know what? That's what I'm doing. Because I think I've done pretty good considering how I could have done,
Yeah.
coulda, shoulda, woulda. But at the end of the day, everything happens according to God's will and his plan.
Yes.
And I will say that in the grieving process, my patience has been tested, and my patience is winning over in terms of I have done things right in the way I'm moving,
Hmm.
because every time that I think I should do something else, I look back and like, I'm glad I didn't, because it could have made the situation worse.
Yes.
And so that's a blessing, because God knows when to intervene and to make us be still.
Right.
And that is one of the things that I have learned and that I'm learning as I get older and through this whole process, is that just be still, let go and let God.
Let go. Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that.
I am. I'm serious.
Let go, let go, let go.
Let go.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, because at the end of the day, when you truly believe and trust God, when you hand it over to him, you have to hand it over to him.
Yes.
And you do what you're supposed to do, but I can't be a busybody. I can't just like, I got to do it this way, because I'm so used to doing things on my terms,
Your terms.
and my terms are not God's terms.
Absolutely.
And so that's where the trusting and having faith and knowing that he is going to guide us to where we're supposed to be. And you just step back, and everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
That's right.
And it goes back to even my childhood. And when I look back on it, and if you would have asked me 25 years ago or even 30 years ago, if I could choose a different family or a different family circumstance, would I? I probably would have said yes. But where I am today, looking back, no, absolutely not. I didn't have the best upbringing, but that it shaped who I am.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So
Now, I know that we actually touched on this, creating rituals and routines to remember our loved ones in the process of grieving. What have you done in that instance? Like created routines or small rituals?
I just continue to speak on my sister's name and keep her spirit alive. I've seen families where people pass away and they don't talk about it. It's just like,
Yeah.
don't bring up the name. No, we bring up the name. We talk about the good times. We laugh about some of the things that have happened and that were bad at the time, and we look back and we're like, oh yeah, I remember this and how
Yeah.
we overcame. And one of the things that I do the most is I keep my sister with me every single day. When I open up my phone, her face is there. And it's just a reminder of her smile, and I still hear her voice, and I talk to her. I do. Like if I'm in a bind, or if I feel, I'm like, okay, Candy, what do I do? And I could just hear her say, sis, you got this. Like,
Yep.
just do it. Like, so for me, the ritual, and then her kids, like, my niece, I have one of them with me, and just she's just a constant reminder of her. So I can't not keep her spirit alive, because part of her spirit is right here in my heart and in my home.
Yes, yes. For me, there are so many nuggets and so many things that Amber we shared. Key was the Bath and Body Works, the candle. Oh, it's Sunday. Coupons would come out. New coupon. I'm gonna get a phone call. Hey girl,
Yeah, yeah,
did you see the new coupons for Bath and Body Works? They got a new scent out. Okay. You gonna get it? Yeah, for me, not for you.
yeah,
And then she said, no, I got you. And she would get a new scent. Or I'm gonna send you a video. Tell me what you think about these shoes. Or she's constantly, it was the outfits. Or, she'd say it be Sundays. It was huge Sundays. I remember the last time that it was, we always got together. Sunday dinners went after I came back. And she needed, you had to scratch her dandruff. Head full of beautiful hair. Lot of dandruff. And you had to scratch those dandruffs, and that's what she say. Now shampoo it. Then after you shampoo it, now blow dry it. Then you blow dry it, put a little oil in it.
So it was the whole thing.
You should want to do this. This is bonding time with your daughter. And you know what? And just to see her sitting there, and I'm like, this is, it reminded me of she's little, and I'm quite sure others, my other daughters had the opportunity to do it. But what she said to me that day was even just shampooing her hair and all of that, I said, this reminds me of when she was little, well, a certain age, because for a long time she didn't grow hair and she didn't have teeth. I was just talking to her son. I was talking to her son about that, and those are, just being able to show him her beginning picture, and I brought him over to my bookshelf where I keep the pictures, and I said, show me where your mama is.
Yeah.
He looking on the bookshelf, looking around. He said, that's my mama. That was day one. I said, that was her day one. You look just like her.
Yes.
And then there were pictures where she had absolutely no teeth in the front, and she was school age, elementary. Like almost, I guess she was about 7 or 8, no teeth. And we got her dentures. She had dentures, front dentures, because we were, we didn't want people to be picking on my baby. So we got her dentures. You know what she did? Took them out, and she would throw them somewhere. And I'm saying, she was confident even as a child. She didn't let anybody dim her light. I don't care what, no teeth or not. It was not going to stop her from talking or dancing. So those are things that I was able to reminisce about, and just to talk to her son about things that, I remembered, and just to looking at him looking in awe, like, wow, she had no teeth at this age. She had no teeth. And then, to be able to look, because I keep, that may be dark for some people, but it's not dark for me to have her obituary, right there, because those are the last pictures. And, there are others, but to be able to look at up there right on my mirror and say, hey, what do you think I need to do? And I hear her say, don't quit, keep going, don't quit, keep going. And this week, I could probably, if I could see her face clearly, I bet she had the biggest smile on her face.
Messiah there.
Yeah, not just, but because to know that I'm working with his dad and we have a relationship. And that to me means everything. And to know that he can trust his child with her mom and the family. And that made me happy. And I can almost guarantee you that was a milestone in the grieving process for the both of us.
Right.
For the both of us. And when I was going to get him some, pick up some items for him, I could hear her say, don't get that for my baby. Oh no, he don't wear this. He wear this, because she was very, very, I could show you pictures of him at 3, 4, and 5 on point.
On point, yes.
She didn't play. She did not play when it came to his attire. So when I brought the bag and he looked in, the biggest smile. This is hard.
This is what my mama would have bought.
It almost, it was like you should see the smile on his face. And then when he went to show his dad, and it was just, oh, he said, this is hard. Grammy did her big one. This is hard, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's hard, but I could just feel her presence, the happiness,
Mm-hmm.
and to see that smile on that baby's face and to look at his dad, and for me to tell his dad, thank you for letting him be with me this entire week. And I said it did me good and it did him some good.
Really good.
And we
Yes.
just hugged each other. And I said, and this what makes the grieving process easier.
Easier.
Not
Exactly.
but when we're coming together, because we have all one common goal in mind.
And that's
See
to
that
make sure
baby
he's okay.
for as much as we can.
Yes.
But there is nothing going to take the place of
Of
Amber
his,
in his life. But at least, it makes it or doable, if I can say that. And so that's my routine, just to make sure that I continue to advocate, because
yeah.
we got to get changed. She would want me, you got to take care of yourself, Mom. You have to.
Mm-hmm.
She would want that for me. She wouldn't want me in a slumber state. She wouldn't want that for me. And I had to realize that in the beginning, when others were saying that, you couldn't hear that at the time, but I really know that she want me to be doing this, and she wouldn't want me in a state of depression and letting grief consume me where I'm in a dark place, because I wouldn't be healthy for her son.
Right, right.
And that meant he was her world. And so when I think about what the ritual or the routine or the what I can do to positively affect the grieving process, is to make sure I do my part for her
Yeah.
son. And to hear that smile makes, I know she was happy and she's happy. And that in turn, to see his
Makes
smile, to see his eyes light up, to hear that smile. And although I had him helping me wash Crystal, big Crystal, him helping me, mopping the floor, doing it, and I have to give a shout out to his dad, because he's done really good with him,
good.
helping Grammy mop the floors and being a helper.
Yeah.
That helped my heart. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get emotional, but it helped my heart. That it lifted a part of me that says, you know what? It's not all bad.
It's not.
It's not. And that if we just stick together, if we
Mhm.
hold that glue together, we're going to get through it.
I mean, you think about that togetherness and working together. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can accomplish more together than apart. And so
Yes,
that,
absolutely. And we talked about, you know, of course, lighting candles, because that was my thing. And I light candles, not because I'm on, some type of
ritualistic stuff, but
time, but
because it was
I light
makes you
candles because it's a memory, and it's not a bad memory. That's what we did.
mm,
And as a matter of fact, my last Mother's Day, that she and my grandson bought me this humongous, with candles, the Bath and Body Works, an entire set that I've yet to touch. And then a whole entire set that I said, no, we can't touch this, because my babies gave me
now
this.
now you say you can't touch that. And I totally get it because I'm the same
No,
way.
no, no. I'm talking
He
about,
bought it for you to use.
no, I'm not going to use that.
Just light it up so you can just think of
I
her.
got plenty of them.
I know.
I got plenty of candles that I light, but that one has to stay. It's decorations. It's going to stay in its perspective place, because,
I get it.
but I like all the other ones.
Yes.
But that one particular, because that's the last thing was that the last thing she bought me? Yep, it was Mother's Day, and it was candles. But the actual last thing she bought me was my 50th birthday, and she had my cake especially made. It was my 70s party, And she had that cake especially made, and that topping is still in my refrigerator as we speak. Groovy
Yeah.
at 50. And the top of it had the disco ball, and they had the lady dancing because that's, I love to do that too.
Yeah.
But it was the color, everything was just me. And
Yeah.
she had that especially made for me. And the top part, I let everybody have everything else, but that top part with the ball, the crystal ball, the disco ball on it, I still have it.
Yeah. That's wow.
Yep.
You know, when my sister, when she passed and we went to her house, she loved Bath and Body Works also. And her favorite scent one of her favorite scents was Love Spell.
Hmm.
So my sister Jennifer, she took some and I took some, but I took the one that reminded me most of Candy. So sometimes I go in there and I'll put on some of that lotion, some of her lotion, just to kind of feel connected, and I can just smell her, I can sense her.
You can say,
And it's just certain things that those are, and not necessarily rituals, but just reminders,
right.
just reminders of.
About the self-care basics like the sleep, nutrition, movement, even a mild activity that you can regulate your mood and energy, being mindful of not using alcohol or sedatives to sedate you or numb the pain, because it complicates grief and it makes it a longer process. What I did, Taria, and I did not recognize it until I recognized it. I wouldn't sleep. And it happens, and I have to be honest, it happens even now, but I recognize it and I quickly put it in its place. But sometimes I go through periods where I don't sleep.
Yeah.
And you know what I do when I'm not sleeping? I find myself shopping because that's what we did together. And for a period of time, it had become an addiction. No drinking, no smoking, none of that. But I was shopping
Yeah.
because that's what we did. We did that. We showed each other videos and pictures of, look, girl, I like these shoes. Oh, I like this purse. Or, what about this outfit? Or what about this color? And the last thing we were doing among the shopping was buying household items.
Mm.
What you see in my house,
Yeah.
I can show you the text pictures between Amber and myself. She would give me a color and I would give her the design, the idea. We'll put this with that and this with that. And that's what we did together. And I noticed that when I'm up in the middle of the night, I go to the internet, not to probe on social media, but before, in the beginning, and sometimes now I have to catch myself out because I'm not going to lie to you and tell you this is a walk in the park. It's not. I would shop,
Yeah.
and before you know it, I've shopped out,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I recognized that it had gotten worse for me like a couple of months. Some say the addiction of drugs and alcohol. No, that's not my thing because I don't want anything to alter. I want to
Your
feel
mental state,
everything.
right?
I want to feel everything. And I was scared if I did that you could
It's no coming
easily,
back.
it was no coming back. So, but even with the shopping, and so one day I had my session and I told my therapist, I said, I recognize that in my that grieving process, I've been shopping profusely and it's bad. And when I know I got a bill to pay, and let me tell you, I'm the only one in here
That's paying bills.
that's paying my bills.
Yeah.
And I can't be so far gone that I do this because if if I keep doing this, hey,
Lose it.
I brought it to my therapist. I said, it's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's not medication, shopping, because that's what's been keeping me connected. And I realized when I looked at my statement And I realized what I was doing, and I said, oh no, God, you got to help me. Because my therapist was, he was saying, what are we going to do about this? I said, I got to come to terms that if stop,
Yeah. You'll be bankrupt.
I got two other people that are depending on me. And when I started to really, you got to do the work. Just like you say, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I
Amen.
knew differently that I had to change that perspective.
Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
my thing. If you do anything in excess, anything like
it's
eating,
sin.
anything in excess, grief is, it's not just about the drinking and anything that you find yourself doing in excess to numb that pain.
Is an addiction.
It's an addiction.
Yeah. Well, I had a shopping problem before my sister. I mean, I've always had a shopping problem. So it wasn't, well, it was, and for me, it was definitely staying up late. I've always been a night owl, but I was find myself up to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, knowing that I have to get up and go to work, or knowing, and it made me like become like a zombie almost. But I definitely developed anxiety,
Yeah.
and that's something that I'm working on now. Excuse me. And with that anxiety, it makes me jumpy and just real snappy. So I'm working on that, and I started to eat.
I've been there with,
Food is my comforter.
let's talk about not eating a lot um because I'm just starving, but I have that two things working against. It was grief and menopause.
Girl.
And
Yeah,
before I knew it, I was just like,
yeah. Can't get in your clothes.
oh my God.
Stressed
You've
about that.
seen my closet, you've seen, and it's like, oh no, I gotta get no, indeed. So
Yeah.
it's a quick snapback. And that's what I'm grateful to God for, because you always hear me say, I didn't know my own strength until I had
Until
to
you
be
had to
strong.
use. Yeah.
And I am super grateful. I can talk about it. I'm not gonna never close my mouth when it talks about giving God the credit and the glory, because he's brought me a long way. And what I used to do to try to ease the pain, I don't. I pick up my Bible. I put on worship music. My
Mhm.
sanctuary is in my bedroom, and I put on my worship music, and I just, I'm hearing encouraging messages. So instead of getting on, let me do this, let me shop, I'll give it to the church before I go. Yeah, I promise you, I will. I do. I do. I make sure that if you know what, let me just sow. Let me sow. I'm not, and then, before you know it, it's like, because I'm sowing for my healing. I'm
Right.
sowing, even if it's time, even if it's sowing a seed to somebody else, I'm sowing. Grief is not going to consume me. I'm
Amen.
sowing for my healing. And it's been working. It's been
That's
working. And
yeah.
then the avocation in putting in, it's
Yeah.
journaling or doing something in honor of her, instead of, but I'm channeling it. I am channeling it, and I'm a champion at it. Every time I jump a hurdle, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. I
Yes,
mean, we have a lot of work to do,
absolutely.
and as we come up upon 2026, the work is just going to become more and more rapid, because we're going to be in a vital time where our voices definitely need to be heard, so we can
And they
make.
will, and they
Yeah.
will, and they will. Every platform, every opportunity, there is going to be change, and it's not going to come the way people think it.
Yeah.
Our attention had to be we got too comfortable in the state that we were in. We gotten too complacent. We got
Yes.
too lackadaisy. We were passive, and we had to be shaken up.
Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people say, how did we get here? Because we weren't paying attention.
Yep. That's right.
We were not
Not
paying
paying
attention.
attention.
It was plainly in our sight and there, but we ignored the signs. So
Yes. You know what? Time goes by so fast
yeah,
when it's positive exchange. Time goes by really fast, and I'm looking up and I'm saying, wow, we're nearing the end of our time on this episode. We are nearing our time, and every opportunity we get to just engage with the public, engage with each other. I don't take it lightly because, like I said, we have to continue. I don't care if we have one or two that get something out of, if it's just something out of what we're saying in our episodes, then we're doing our job. And as I stated earlier, we would be more than grateful to our viewers and our listening audience if you just subscribe, share it with others, invite them to come on. And even if you go to our website on our event page, or it may be our blogs page, there is a segment where you can submit a topic that you want to talk about. And hey, you could be the next special guest. And on this platform, we're not asking you to come. Just be yourself, because that's who I am. I'm going to
yeah,
be myself. I'm not going to put a muzzle over my mouth when it's something that I feel strongly about. And we just, of course, we know that we have to do things in decency and in order, but this platform is where we're free to talk about things that are important to us. And we want you to feel that same way. If there's anything that you want to discuss or you want to talk about, put it on that event page, or I think it's the blogs page. I'm sorry.
yeah.
And you could be our next special guest. And Taria, I don't want to end without you being able to say something.
Well, I just want to say thank you all for showing up tonight and, coming back week after week. We're trying to be consistent, and we are going to come back again next week with a new episode. And we'd like for you to like, subscribe, and share with others, and come back to visit.
Yes, and we don't take it lightly. You can go to our website, as I said earlier in the beginning, to www.podpage.com. We talk about it. And if you can't get us there, you can get us on Apple, YouTube. We're streaming on Sirius XM. We're on Amazon. We're on every platform that is out there. We are streaming on iHeartRadio. We're streaming on entirely all the platforms. And we're going to keep going, and we're going to grow. And we are not despising small beginnings, because before you know it, we talk about it, you'll be streaming us, not on the platforms alone. That is our goal. And we know if we stay consistent, we'll get there. And again, tonight, Taria, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to our listening audience for taking the time out to listen to us or to view us on We Talk About It. Until next week, have a great evening and a blessed week. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And that's a wrap on this episode of We Talk About It. Whether you laughed, learned something new, or just enjoyed the conversation, we're glad you're here with us. If today's talk resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and follow us on social media to stay connected. We've got more honest, real, and meaningful conversations coming your way. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep talking about it.